Data log. Fragments. Fragments by category. Fragment items. Chaos crystal. A shard of twisted time, frozen in crystal. It is a key component in the paradox weapon, which is being developed in academia of the 5th century AF. This remarkable and extremely rare substance is formed by space-time singularities, and is believed to be the seed substance that causes time gates to manifest. Black hole gem. A stone recovered from inside a feral. This substance was responsible for summoning up a tempest, sucking up huge numbers of monsters, and sending them flying to another space-time. Feral monsters like to swallow crystals that sit in their stomachs and ignite the flames they breathe from their mouths. This particular monster must have swallowed the fragment by mistake, thinking it another crystal. White hole gem. Countless flan are emerging from the gate in the sunlit waterscape and disrupting the balance of the ecosystem. This fragment is a twin of the black hole gem. It has the power to take monsters absorbed by a black hole gem, generate a rift in space-time, and disgorge those same monsters into a different era and place. Entropy board. The entropy board allows you to activate a switch in Augusta Tower, 200 AF. Use the board to replace circuits cross-wired across time periods and bypass the malfunction. Falcon's compass. This compass was given to you by Falcon of Blitz Squadron in the Vile Peaks 200 AF. A security regiment compass logs the actions of its possessor. By analyzing the data it holds, it is possible to deduce the identity of the previous owner. Control device password 1. This is one of the passwords needed to access the Atlas control device 100 AF Brescia Ruins, which was locked by some unknown person. Access to the control panel was lost when the researcher who held the passwords disappeared from the site. After that, the Academy changed its password management policy to avoid similar incidents in the future. Control device password 2. This is one of the passwords needed to access the Atlas control device, 100 AF Brescia Ruins, which was locked by some unknown person. The encryption technology appears to use the paradox to enhance lockdown security. A virtual space exists inside the control device. Enclosed within is a temporal rift. To get the password, the puzzles in the rift have to be solved. Paradox scope. The paradox scope is a lens that shows the possibilities of different timelines. The bearer gains the ability to sense the crossroads of history. The scope bends the rules of the universe and makes the impossible possible. As a result, you may find yourself able to do things such as defeat unbeatable foes and experience a future that should never have come to pass. Categories. Monster bits. Gog-Magog Fragment Alpha. Gog-Magog is a giant of the void beyond. Banished from this world for violating the laws of time, the beast forever wanders the void in search of escape. Many enchantments were needed to contain its immense power. The charms and magic seals that cover the beast are mute testament to the courage of those who banished it. Gog-Magog Fragment Beta. Ancient documents provide scant information about the true nature of Gog-Magog. Researchers believe that there may be two Gog-Magogs, and that name refers to the species, not the individual. Others believe that Gog Magog is a fal'C who was punished for trying to travel the timeline. This may well be the most compelling explanation for the beast's immense power. Gog Magog Fragment Gamma. The legends are not clear on the reason why Gog Magog searches for an escape from the void beyond. Some say that what he truly seeks is oblivion. Should he find a way out and be reunited with his lost half, only then will he find release. A certain passage in the legend reads thusly: Gog Magog once believed he had found his missing half within the void beyond. It was, however, but a shadow of his past self, searching endlessly through the mists of time. Atlas Fragment. Atlas is a giant war machine that was excavated from the Brescia ruins. The technology appears to be of human origin, rather than fal'C. This suggests that it is a relic from a future civilization. The machine can be operated through its crystal-controlled AI and sensory perception apparatus. Academy scientists hypothesized that the machine was built to combat large-scale fal'C, but stress that their research is still in the early stages. Aloedae Fragment. Aloedae is the mortal enemy of the giant Gog Magog. The legends say that in order to exact revenge against Gog Magog, who had caused him to be banished from his homeland, Aloedae cursed Gog Magog to wander forever in the rifts between eras. Aloedae loathes all things that live in this world, and when he is defeated, he twists the surrounding space-time in an effort to take his enemies with him into death. Mutant Tomato Fragment. Mutant tomatoes are flan mutations that arose suddenly in Cocoon's Sunleth Waterscape Nature Preserve. Researchers believe that the creatures feed on the crystal lattice work that runs through the interior of Cocoon and helps support it in the sky. There are rumors of a particular specimen that absorbs other flan and grows to prodigious size. Evidence of the creature, nicknamed the Royal Ripeness, has been found in certain video fragments, although serious scientists remain skeptical that it actually exists. Proto-fal'C Adam Fragment. The Proto-fal'C, known as Adam, was built by humans. Some of the memory modules of the fal'C Eden, which once controlled Cocoon, were transplanted to the artificial fal'C. In 400 AF, the automated academia defense networks began to attack the population they were tasked with protecting. However, the time traveler Sarah Farron was able to eradicate the malfunctioning systems, at least according to certain records of unknown providence. Zenobia Fragment. Zenobia is one of the fearsome group of Seath known as the Undying. After descending upon the Heraei Archaeopolis and wreaking untold havoc, she disappeared from the pages of history. In 400 AF, Zenobia was summoned through a crack in space-time by the Proto-fal'C Adam, and became the harbinger of death for the seeress Yule. It is said this moment was seen and recorded within an oracle drive. Amethyst and Uvolite Fragment. Pakos Amethyst and Pakos Luvulite are crystal spawn born in the chaos of Valhalla. Amethyst was once a pure chunk of ice floating on the seas of entropy, while Luvulite was a pool of molten magma that erupted from the unstable ground. Once both had matured to a certain size, they took on the apparent shape and cunning of beasts. Mini-Flan Fragment. The self-styled Mini-Flan Musketeers are a gang of 5 kinds of flan who somehow acquired self-awareness. The group consists of Cool Blue, Emo Black, Lady Pink, Mischievous Yellow, and their hot-blooded leader, Red. Red is a regular mini-flan. As for the others, it is not clear if they will turn the same color as they age. In any case, scientists are praying that they won't grow any bigger. Goblin Fragment. The goblins that inhabit the arc-light steppe of Pulse are highly intelligent carnivores who lay traps for their prey and hunt in packs. For this reason, they are a direct threat to the hunters who also live off the plains. Climate change can cause a decline in prey and force the goblins to wander closer to human settlements in search of food. They love a good fight and like to pounce on unwary humans. We recommend staying in large groups when traveling goblin-infested lands. Ghast Fragment. The Seath, including monsters such as the Ghast, are created by fal'Cie from living humans. When people who have been made l'Cie are unable to fill their focus, they are transformed into Seath. Places where fal'Cie were once active are often infested with large numbers of wandering Seath. The fal'Cie have also been known to transform weaker humans into Seath en masse. These unfortunate victims become soulless puppets of their fal'Cie masters, forced to fight in their defense. fal'Cie often use this power when they are under immediate threat. Kalavinka Fragment. The Kalavinka Striker is a bioweapon that was developed by the elite PSICOM forces of the defunct Sanctum government of Cocoon. It was believed these weapons were all lost in the catastrophe, but at least one apparently fell into the void beyond. The Kalavinka was reborn with new, more deadly powers. Its wings can warp time and carve scars on the surface of dimensional space. Wherever the Kalavinka alights, it leaves space-time mangled and wrecked. Fortunately, the damage has so far been restricted to the Bracia ruins, and Cocoon itself appears to be safe. We should be thankful for the small mercies. Fragment of Invincibility. The war of transgression that pitted Cocoon against Pulse took place 700 years before the catastrophe. The common wisdom on Cocoon is that the war was sparked by a Pulse invasion. However, Pulse records claim that the culprit was a demon from Cocoon. Historians remain divided to this day. The people of Pulse had always feared invasion from the sky and made preparations accordingly. These included immortals, war machines of immense strength and durability that were able to fight fal'Cie even when half destroyed. The ancient weapons were designed for a defense war on the ground, not offensive airborne assaults. Some historians claim that this proves it was Cocoon that instigated the war. Ugalu Fragment. The monster Ugalu once descended upon ancient Padra. Many a l'Cie and mighty warrior faced the beast, but none were able to subjugate it. Only the seeress Padra Nsuyul of the far seers knew the true extent of the menace it posed. Ugalu was a monster from the seeress's future. Its very existence in her time was a contradiction, an impossibility. If it was not destroyed, the tear in space-time would grow until it consumed the entire nation. So the seeress made the fateful decision to break her own vows and seal the beast within the void beyond. Ochu Fragment. Ochus are wild plant monsters that live on Grand Pulse. Variants include the small Microchu and its close cousin, the Neochu. as well as the rapidly mutating Chaochu. Because the Ochu and its relatives inhabit similar environments, they are fierce rivals for food and resources. On Pulse, evolution acts on populations remarkably quickly. New varieties and species emerge in a matter of years. That said, however, the Ochu and Neochu have been in competition for much longer. Gorgyra Fragment. There was once a female warrior of Padra, bound to serve the goddess, who was tricked by an enemy and almost caused the seeress to be killed. Now the seeress loved the warrior like a sister, and she forgave the mistake, but the warrior did not, and as penance she asked a fal'Cie to turn her into a Seath. When the warrior finished her prayer to the fal'Cie, an ominous voice rang through her head. "I have heard your plea. You shall lose your 5 senses, be plunged into black flames, and wander the eternal darkness. Your words shall be a song of agony, your screams a curse of death. And thus shall you remain, until a merciful one destroys your soul and frees you from your torment." Long Gui Fragment. The Long Gui is one of the largest monsters on Pulse. All members of the Oristoids family have long lifespans, and some researchers believe that Long Guis are actually Xiaolong Guis that survived even longer than normal. Others assert that they constitute a distinct species. Evidence exists to support both sides of the argument, but as the creatures live for centuries, generations must pass before a consensus is reached. Yomi Fragment. The Archilt steppe becomes a very different place when thunder rolls across the heavens, for it heralds the coming of Yomi, one of the host of the Undying, that is also known as the Wings of Death. Why does it only appear with the lightning? The answer lies in its former life. Yomi was once a great hero, driven to prove that he was the most powerful warrior of his age, but he was struck down by lightning on the steppe before he could complete his quest. Now he wanders the very same steppe where his life was so suddenly cut short. Amidst the crashing thunder and howling wind, no one hears his tormented screams. Twilight Fragment Alpha. The malevolent Twilight Odin is the dark shadow that enveloped the Blitz squadron in the Vile Peaks, 10 AF. This entity exists outside time and can manifest in several eras at once. The source of its power, however, is but a single fragment, and the loss of this crystallized memory would weaken the shadowy being across every age. Twilight Fragment Beta. The creature known as Twilight Odin appears as a shadowy twin of the original Eidolon. In truth, it is a formless being of chaos that seeped into the mortal world from the unseen realm. This malignant force used a crystallized memory found in the Vile Peaks as a mold and assumed the form of Odin. The memory belongs to a certain l'Cie who saved Cocoon. It was in the Vile Peaks that she first faced and overcame the equine Eidolon warrior. Categories: Academic Reward, Academic Rank, Monster Professor. You have investigated and created detailed reports on every known monstrous life form. In recognition of your contribution to the Academy's Weapon Development Department, I hereby confer upon you the honorary title of Monster Professor. Academy Lead Advisor, Hope Estheim. Academic Rank, Paradox Professor. You have recorded topographical data and provided complete and detailed maps for every notable paradox location. For your contribution to the Academy's paradox research, I hereby confer upon you the honorary title of Paradox Professor. Academy represented Telaf Rayland. Idea Circuit. I got a message the other day, and when I saw who it was from, well golly, I nearly keeled over in surprise. It was from Hope Estheim himself. I remember when Alida used to be classmates with him in middle school. It's hard to forget the names of the people who were involved in the catastrophe. Anyway, he said he was really interested in my report about the gates, and wanted to know if I'd be willing in joining his team. Team Alpha. Wow. With them, I'd have all the resources I need to continue my research. Enigma Codex. We're learning more and more about the properties of space-time. We know that when the future is altered, the past is reorganized to maintain the logic of the timeline. Even people's memories are overwritten with the new reality, and we also know that multiple possibilities do not coexist. In the end, one timeline is chosen, and that becomes the true history. I wonder what happens to the other possibilities, the ones that aren't chosen, and in which of those worlds will I end up? Difference Engine. I still don't know if it was me or my friend who died that day. No matter how many times I check that gravestone, the doubts remain. Timelines that are not chosen eventually disappear. Other possibilities only exist for as long as space-time is broken. When the paradoxes are resolved and the true timeline restored, will it be like the man in my dreams says it will? Will I disappear forever, gone even from the memories of the people who remain? Travel Guide. New Bottom. New Bottom is a seaside village located some distance from Cocoon's Pillar. Most of the residents are refugees from the former Cocoon town, Bottom. The residents are trying to recreate the fireworks festival for which Old Bottom became famous. If they succeed, the town is sure to become a major tourist destination. Be sure to drop by Nora House, a peaceful cafe right on the beach that serves up a fatally delicious dish of deadly whitefish. When we asked the very attractive chef what exactly was in it, she told us, "It's better that you don't know." Travel Guide. Brescia Ruins. The Brescia Ruins are the remains of an ancient city that once stood on the shores of Lake Brescia, one of the eeriest sights on Cocoon. During the events of the purge that immediately preceded the fall of Cocoon, a pulse-foul sea turned the waters of the lake into crystal. Even burning flames became crystallized, creating spectacularly evocative and unusual landscapes. However, because the waters of the lake are now frozen solid, the famous fish restaurants that once dotted the shore are sadly no more. Travel Guide. Yaschus Massif. The Yaschus Massif in Pulse southern reaches is home to the ancient ruins of Padra. Padra was the only advanced civilization of ancient Grand Pulse, but after the war of transgression between Pulse and Cocoon, it began a long decline that ended in its complete disappearance. This tough, mountainous terrain is a popular draw for mountaineers and other outdoor types. We recommend visiting Padra, awe-inspiring even in ruins. Also worth a hike is the viewing platform next to the dormant Falsi. Travel Guide. Erba. Erba is an abandoned village located in the northern reaches of Pulse. The sand that covers the ground is powdered crystal that fell during the War of Transgression. In recent times, large numbers of Seath have been seen in the area. Presumably, they were created from living humans to serve some mysterious fal'Cie purpose. Seath are former l'Cie who failed to complete their focus. Yerba is designated Special Protected Zone, so visitors are not allowed. However, you might get permission from the Academy for an airship flyover. Travel Guide: Sunleth Waterscape. The Sunleth Waterscape is a nature preserve located inside Cocoon. After the catastrophe, the various fal'Cie that controlled the weather became dormant, and the light of the fal'Cie Phoenix, which once served as Cocoon's sun, dimmed considerably. For these reasons, the native biosystem has broken down, and the site is now a haven for monsters. Jars of concentrated mini-flan mucus are sold exclusively at the local Academy branch office. Known as Faraga for the tongue, the spice is wildly popular with chefs who need to give their dishes an extra dash of hellish heat. Travel Guide: Academia. Academia is the capital city of the settlements that have sprung up around the base of the Cocoon Pillar. In the east is the Merchants area, with Grand Avenue running down the middle. And in the west is the residential district called New Town. To the north stands the headquarters of the Academy organization, a popular sightseeing spot for visitors and locals alike. After a full day of shopping, we recommend heading to the Academy HQ building and checking out the night views from the restaurant on the top floor. The restaurant is run directly by the Academy, and it serves up dishes that tickle the intellect as well as the palate. Travel Guide: Augusta Tower. Augusta Tower is the giant electronic brain of Academia. The AI mind that occupies the tower stores precious data and records from centuries ago that cannot be found anywhere else. Apparently, there are freelance data miners who do nothing but search the archives for new information discoveries. When the tower was first built, a number of galas and parties were held featuring the tower mascots, Augie and Taupy. When the tower was closed to the public, the mascots were destroyed, to the dismay of small children everywhere. Travel Guide: Vile Peaks. Located in Cocoon, Vile Peaks is a massive dumping ground of waste and refuse. When the fal'Cie built Cocoon, and during later modifications, large quantities of material were lifted up from the surface of Grand Pulse. The unused surplus was discarded here, and now it is infested with roaming war machines of ancient Pulse. Forget about sightseeing. Not even the military is allowed full access. That said, there are a few brave collectors of retro war weapons and relics who sneak in here to scavenge for parts. Travel Guide: Archilt Steppe. The Archilt Steppe is a broad plain located in a remote corner of Pulse. The few explorers who reach the steppe return with reports of a tribe of fiercely independent nomadic hunters who have lived off the land here for centuries, cut off from the rest of human civilization. The actual location has not been made public, but tourists with a bent for adventure might consider renting an airship and putting together their own expedition. Some believe that the hunters are the descendants of the original inhabitants of Pulse, while others claim they are a lost tribe of Cocoon. If you could get close enough to win their trust, they might tell you their story. Travel Guide: A Dying World. One of the prophecies recorded on the Oracle Drive excavated from the ruins shows a mysterious place called the Dying World. It appears to be inhabited by descendants of the ancient Padra Farseers, as well as refugees from Cocoon. Scientists believe that this world is our distant future. Frankly, we're not sure if anyone would actually want to visit the place. But "we'll take you to the ends of the earth" is our motto, so we've sent our crack intern researcher to check it out. We'll let you know the moment we hear from him again. Categories: Great Mog Wisdom, Delicate Crystal, The Wisdom of the Mughals. A time labyrinth is a work-in-progress space that its creator couldn't be bothered to finish because of a paradox, Kupo. We can transform it into what it should be by resolving the paradox, Kupo. I'll bet the creator was lazy and irresponsible, Kupo. What? That sounds like me. No, it doesn't, Kupo. Time's Stardust. Ever wondered how Mughals fly so fine in the sky? It's all thanks to our magic baubles, Kupo. They're made of crystal, Kupo, and they conjure up anti-gravity field that never lets us down. Our little wings are just for show, so people won't get jealous of our brilliant baubles. Hee hee. Now you know something no one else does, Kupo. Time's Shell. Tick-tock. The Mughal clock runs on clockwork, Kupo. If I forget to wind it up, it'll stop dead, and we'll be in untimely trouble. And you want to know something really super secret? My Mughal body is actually a puppet, and the real me is inside the clock. I am totally, absolutely telling the truth, kind of. Time's Coral. I have to do everything that lightning tells me, Kupo. Everything. In Valhalla, the losers obey the winners. It's the law, Kupo. Where did I fight lightning, you ask? In Valhalla, of course. It was an exciting duel. She threw down scissors 3 times in a row, Kupo. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe I should have picked up swords after all, Kupo. Spinning Moonstone. Fragments are little nuggets of information, like frozen shards of time. You just have to touch them to fill your head with what's inside, Kupo. You see, they are made of the same crystal that's inside the Oracle Drive. That's how they hold memories and stories and so much more. Sparkling Runestone. Snow is a stray cat that Yuge found, Kupo. Godot was just joking when he said they should call her Snow, but the name stuck, and that was that. But in fact, everyone in the town has their own name for her, such as Esmeralda and Mew Mew. It's one thing to call a girl cat Snow, but when you give her a dog name like Spot, that's just wrong, Kupo. Astonishing Limestone. The survival knife was a birthday present from Snow and Sarah to Lightning, Kupo. Sarah treasures the knife because it reminds her of lightning, but Godot took it, polished it, and then left it lying on the beach. It was a good thing I found it, Kupo. But why did Godot clean it and then leave it out to get rusty in the salt air? It makes no sense. Thrilling milestone. When Snow proposed to Sarah, he gave her a very special necklace, Kupo. It's shaped like the planet Cocoon, and it symbolizes how Snow and Sarah will be together forever, just like Pulse and Cocoon, Kupo. That was the idea, anyway. But the marriage is on hold until they find lightning again. Lovely Starstone. The Nora Special is a dish served up tasty hot at the Nora House in New Bottom. The cook is LeBro, the best chef in all of Pulse, Kupo. The menu changes every day, Kupo, but whatever it is, LeBro uses only the freshest veggies from the garden and fish from the ocean. It's a surf and turf treat. Bubbly Stone. Guess what? Godot designed and built most of the buildings in New Bottom, Kupo. They're not exactly fine art, but they're tough and built to last, just like the architect. Not to mention, they're comfy, like an old sofa, Kupo. It's just the same as people. When it comes to homes, it's what's inside that counts. Scorching Firestone. When he used to live on Cocoon, Maquis sold all kinds of weird gadgets at a place called Lenora's Garage, Kupo. These days, there are a lot of researchers over at the Academy who are getting good use out of his skeleton key set. He was trying to keep his little side business confidential, but LeBro soon twigged what he was up to. She's got a nose for profits, that's for sure. Kupo. Dewy Bloodstone. When the folk of New Bottom have a gripe or need advice, they always turn to Huge. Godot's too scary, LeBro's too busy, and Maquis too wacky. If Snow doesn't get back soon, he might find he's out of a job. It's hard staying king of the hill. Kupo. Mossy Rosetta Stone. There used to be this hit vid show called The Catsroy Files, Kupo. The lead character was an unlucky detective who kept a chocobo chick in his hair. He wasn't much of a detective, but he was honest and always looked after his family. He was very popular, Kupo. Apparently, he was based on a real person. I wonder if it's anyone I know. Kupo. Bittersweet Chiffon. Mog has been alone ever since he can remember. One day, a chocobo chick fell into the void beyond and asked him a question. Say, are you a Mog who's a Moogle? Or are you a Moogle who's also a Mog? Mog replied, I'm a Moogle, of course, and my name is Mog. And what a strange question from a chocobo chick with no name. When she heard that, the chocobo chick fluttered her wings angrily and said, I do have a name. I do. It was an encounter that stayed with Mog for a long time. Even now, he sometimes thinks back to that day and wonders what happened to that little chocobo chick. Tremulous Muffin. Poor Mog had never met anyone of his own kind. One day, a group of quivering flan were whisked into the void beyond. Look at him. He's all round and white. He can join us. Then we'll be 6. Welcome to the Mini-Flan Musketeers, all for one and one for all. And so, just like that, Mog was a flan. One of the flans said, We flew here from the forest of Sunleth. Come fly back with us. But you didn't fly here. You were just carried into the void beyond, objected Mog. Befuddled, the Flan looked at each other, and then suddenly all 5 of them were sucked into another gate. Beloved Cinnamon. You know how Mog can turn himself into a weapon. Well, one day, in the void beyond, he met a monster much like himself. It was a flying weapon called a Centaurian blade. It told Mog that these days it wasn't fighting many battles. Are you a summoned weapon, Mog? Can you turn into a sword? Mog replied, Of course I can, Kupo. And just like that, he turned himself into a handsome sword. Now, when Mog is a weapon, he can't move on his own. If he did, he'd just get in the way of whoever was trying to use him. When he explained this, the Centaurian blade shook his pommel sadly. You are not one of my kind, he said, and then disappeared. What a rude sword, Kupo, said Mog, and he stayed cross for a long time after. Selfish Pancake. Mog had no idea if he was a monster, or an eidolon, or just a simple animal, but one thing he knew for sure, he wasn't a stuffed toy. After all, he told himself, how many stuffed toys can fly? One day, Mog got sucked into a weird and scary corner of the void beyond, where he met a giant monster called Adam. Are you a fal'C? Asked Adam. Are Moogles my brethren? No, Moogles are Moogles, Mog replied proudly. Then Adam said, I have no use for stuffed toys, and disappeared before Mog had a chance to reply. Watch your manners, Kupo, shouted Mog after him. But Adam was gone, never to be seen again. Farewell, Madeline. One day, Mog heard rumors about another creature that looked just like him, so he set off through the Historia Crux to find the monster people called an imp. For sure, the imp had little flapping wings, just like Mog, and it could even hover in the air. But the more Mog looked, the less moogly the creature appeared. Are you a kind of imp? Asked the monster. No. My eyes don't stick out nearly as much as yours, replied Mog. Well, this made the imp madder than anything, and he called his Ahriman friend and chased Mog all over the Crux. No matter how much Mog protested that he meant it as a compliment, the imp would not forgive him. Tea time, Mont Blanc. Mog could never remember how he ended up in Valhalla. The first monster he met was mighty Odin, towering over him. There is only one law in Valhalla, intoned Odin. The weak must obey the strong. Then, suddenly, he attacked. Seems like a silly law to me, said Mog, but if that's the way it has to be. Kupo. With that, he launched himself gallantly at his giant foe, only to be swatted down like in an instant. Well, I guess I lost, and that makes you the boss. What do you want me to do, Kupo? But Odin just glared down at him and said, Bah, I have no use for one as weak as you. Mog learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes words can hurt more than enormous boss monsters. Dishonest Millefeuille. Valhalla is a world where only the strongest survive. Those who are born weak must hone their strength and skills in battle against more powerful foes. Mog heard that one of the strongest monsters around was the knight Valfoder, so he decided to issue a challenge. Valfoder was not the kind of monster to show mercy, even when battling the puniest of foes. Despite his total, crushing defeat, Mog was pleased with the outcome. Now, he thought, he was ready to serve the mighty. But instead, Valfoder rejected him, saying, "I have no use for one so weak." Still, he left Mog alive and without a scratch. Maybe Valfoder wasn't bad, after all. Pink Parfait. Lightning first found Mog lying on the shores of chaos in the heart of Valhalla. Mog was trying to live down his title as the weakest monster of the void, so he challenged Lightning to a duel, which he promptly lost. Mog assumed that Lightning would treat him like all the other victorious foes, and leave him where he lay. But instead she said, "Come, get up, Mog." He couldn't believe his Moogle ears. "You want me to follow you." "That's the rule, right? You lost, and now you have to do my bidding." After that, Mog vowed he would serve Lightning for the rest of his life, no matter what. Kupo. Categories: Bounty Hunter's Prize, Ruthenium Ring. Look, I'm gonna spell it out for you, nice and clear. The Brasher Ruins are suffering from a serious monster problem. There's a big reward for anyone who can shut down the infestation once and for all. But in the meantime, the government's handing out bounties for single monsters. We've got no choice if we want to keep Cocoon safe for humans. The government has assigned us agents the task of handing out the bounty to registered mercs. We used to demand the head of every monster as evidence, but some heads are pretty hard to collect. From bombs, say. So now it's all automated and recorded direct to the kill count. Today's kill count: 13 monsters confirmed dead, 6 hunters injured, none seriously. Rhodium Ring. The mercs around here love their gold. Yes, they do. And silver and gems, and whatever else they can turn into cash. Back in the old days, we used debit cards. Almost no one carried hard currency. But when the paradox screwed up the entire system and no one could prove how much they owned, well, that was the nail in the coffin for virtual money. We'd always had a black market currency under the authorities' radar. You know how people don't like paying taxes. Anyway, it was simple enough to switch to that, and now even the government uses it. So metals are king again, and everyone loves their gold. Today's kill count: 17 monsters confirmed dead, 3 hunters injured, 1 seriously. Palladium Ring. Monsters were too hot to handle today. Lots of casualties. Score 1 for the monster army, I guess. We gotta get more hunters on the job, or we're gonna be in a world of trouble. What's that? Why don't we leave the monsters alone, you say? Nah, wouldn't work. The government tried abandoning these ruins once, years ago. Oh man, that was a disaster, let me tell you. The monsters kept comin' and comin'. They poured out of the ruins, out of the hanging edge, and started appearing in our cities. If we'd let things go on, Cocoon would have turned into one giant monster nest. So we introduced a bounty system and started to drive them back, bit by bit. Today's kill count: 3 monsters confirmed dead, 20 hunters injured, 6 seriously. Osmium Ring. Monster extermination operations in the Brasher ruins are being assigned to mercs by government agents. The Academy has adopted a total hands-off policy. Humph. I guess this is all the government is good for now. We sit around and hire other people to do the dirty work for us. The Academy scientists are sucking up all the resources for that big project of theirs, and the government gets the crumbs. Still, if the gate research is completed and the monster infestation problem isn't solved, the Academy will find it harder to steal our funding. Today's results. 26 monsters confirmed dead. 10 hunters injured, 3 seriously. Iridium Ring. The government sent me to one of the branch offices, so I have no idea what happened in the ruins, which means no report today. Although, I could tell you about my trip, I guess. I went to the old commercial city of Palampolam, and I couldn't believe how many people are still living there. I guess it's not surprising. The city was barely touched in the catastrophe, and the provisional government was located there for a while. The residents have even kept the old name. Guess they like it. Platinum Ring. We had our first fatalities today. They were fools who ignored orders, but still, you don't like to see it happen on your watch. We'll raise a toast to them tonight. It's getting hard to keep up with the kill count. The mercs are expanding the area of operations throughout the ruins. The improvements in the AMP tech are amazing, but we're still trying to figure out how to deploy the weapons effectively in the field. Lots of confusion, lots of mistakes, which means more work for me. Mithril Ring. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the kind of monsters that come out of the paradox. We get wild beasts, ancient pulse weapons, everything. Even military security bots attacking civilians. I wish I knew how they get up here into Cocoon. A lot of the stuff that comes out, we have no idea what era it comes from. We get advanced bioweapons from the future, extinct monsters, creatures from what must be some other dimension. According to the eggheads, it's the gate that does it, pulling in beasts from all over the timeline. Adamantite Ring. We've got some interesting news to report. It's about the mystery device that was unearthed in the Brasher ruins in 5AF. I'm talking about the control device for Atlas. Turns out the technology in this thing is a lot more advanced than in the giant itself. We could actually build Atlas today with our current know-how. The problem is, the engineers haven't been able to figure out how the device works, and we'd have no way to control the giant. The controller appears to read human thoughts and transform them into physical action by some kind of telepathy. No one knows who built it or how. It's like an object from another world. A real paradox. Categories. Crimson Memories. Waltraut's Flower. The crimson orbs hold the memories and remorse of people who were taken from this world through tears in the fabric of time. The spheres hover silently above the ground until someone draws near, whose heart is sensitive enough to hear their message. The crimson orbs are born as a rite of penance, sealed in time. The stronger the remorse, the greater the price that must be paid before the burden can be lifted. Gerhilde's Blossom. Eidolons are beasts that dwell in Valhalla. Lyci chosen by Etro are pitted against Eidolons in a trial by combat. Those who emerge triumphant receive a crystal called Eidolith, which they may use to summon the beast to fight at their side. The weak must obey the strong. This is the inviolable law of Valhalla. Like any other denizen of the unseen realm, Eidolons are bound to answer every call of their master. Ortlinde's Bloom. In the city of Padra sits a fal'Cie, sent there by the mighty god Pulse. The fal'Cie channels the visions of the far-seer seeress and records what she sees on the oracle drive. The people of Padra pay homage to the fal'Cie and worship Pulse, who stands above. Devotedly, they bow their heads to the fal'Cie and the prophecies. Fearfully, they kneel before Atro, the goddess of death, whom the seeress serves. Schwertlight's Flower. In ancient times there was a mighty spell that could summon meteorites and cast them upon the heads of foes. The meteorites had crystalline cores, grown abnormally large in another space-time. The attributes of the meteorite would differ depending on the nature of its core crystal. Some meteorites even held within them rare, otherworldly crystals, known as artifacts, which in special circumstances might be used to open portals to other places and other times. Helmwege's Nightshade. Caius, the peerless hero celebrated in Padra legend, was a guardian appointed to serve and protect the seeress. The sagas sung of his countless victories, of foes vanquished in the thousands. He was called Caius of the Ballads, but despite his renown, none knew his true origin. He took the name Ballad because of the one battle that nearly killed him. The foe was a fellow warrior of the Far-Seers. Overwhelmed by the strength and skill of his opponent, Caius was driven back and back until it was only a matter of time before the final blow would fall. But their duel was interrupted by an enemy attack, and during the ensuing battle, Caius's opponent gave his life defending the seeress. Caius believed that it was he who should have fallen in her defense. Thus, to honor the fallen warrior, he took his name. Sigrun's Nightbloom. The most famous of the prophecies left by the seeress Padra Nsuyul concerns the descent of the monster Ragnarok in the great battle for Cocoon. Long before this came to pass, the seeress named the two sisters who would summon the beast. They shall come from the far north, and the black-haired one shall be the family Yun, and the red-haired one of the family Dia. The truth of the prophecy was later confirmed by the priests of Urba. Rosweiss's Skyblossom. At the height of Padra civilization, the seeress Padra Nsuyul of the Far-Seers prophesied its destruction. In one of history's great ironies, the prophecy itself ignited the civil war that destroyed the nation. The seeress realized that her very words had the power to change history and the future, and so, with her guardian Caius and a few select escorts, she left the city for the wilderness. She covered her face with a veil, cast off the crown that made her ruler of Padra, and became simply Yule, the seeress. Soon after that, she and her small band of followers disappeared from the pages of history. Book of Avalon. Hark and hear the secret words of the far-seers. Only those blessed with chaos by the goddess may travel the portals of time. Even the foul sea, with all their great power, could not enchant the blessed and make them turn against the goddess. The goddess's protection is nearly absolute. Book of Shambhala. Hark, and hear the true words of the far-seers. On the day that the power of the sea shook Cocoon from the sky, the goddess took pity on the people, forgave them their sins, and reached out a hand of salvation. In that instant, two sisters were touched by Valhalla's might, and chaos was settled deep in their hearts. The symbol of Valhalla that shines on their garb is proof of their status. Book of Valhalla. Hark and hear the sacred words of the far-seers. The weak must obey the strong. This is the inviolable law of Valhalla. Each monster that falls in battle becomes the servant of the victor. For those whose hearts brim full with chaos, the power to bend monsters to their will extends beyond the borders of the unseen realm. Categories: The Honor of Blitz Squad. Terrano's Last Light. Immediately following the catastrophe, the Guardian Corps took control from the Sanctum, Cocoon's then governing body. A provisional government was formed consisting primarily of military personnel. The cavalry, an elite unit of the Guardian Corps, spearheaded the administration. Seeking to rebuild society on the strength of human science and free from dependence on the foul sea, they founded an institute called the Academy. Slowly but surely, the provisional government transferred authority to this new organization. Baxter's Last Light. Since the Academy's inception, its founders planned to focus heavily on social sciences and eventually merge with the existing government. The responsibility for defending the populace from Pulse's hostile creatures also passed to the Institute, and so, drawing on personnel from the former Guardian Corps, the Academy Security Regiment was born. Blitz Squadron is a part of that regiment, an elite unit trained specifically to neutralize paradox-related threats. Falcon's Last Light. Blitz Squadron's first duty was an operation at Lake Brescia. The device used to control Atlas had been stolen by an anti-government group, and the squadron retrieved it within a single day. It was a testament to the efficiency of the Academy Security Regiment. The criminals in question were former SciComm military, people opposed to the new society and the Academy was striving to build. Even after the catastrophe, many residents remained on Cocoon, and more than a few of those pushed for the foul sea to be restored. This was one of the incidents that occurred in the midst of general unrest. Ray's Last Light. Along with the monsters and bioweapons from other time periods that appear near the gates, there are also many unique creatures whose natural habitat is in the void beyond. These creatures are known as Rift Beasts. It was Blitz Squadron that learned the ecology of Nectons and Meonectons. The former swim freely through the void, while the latter attach themselves to a particular space-time. It was the squadron's expansive compilation of data that allowed the Academy to build theories on the non-space that connects the gates. Thunder's last light. In 9AF, Blitz Squadron was given orders to apprehend an anti-government group basing its operations out of the Pulse frontier lands. The mission was a success, and at the group's base they discovered evidence of some incredible research. The terrorists had obtained data on Atlas, the Brescia Ruins giant, and were attempting to build their own mega-soldier. This incident would later prove to be the catalyst for an unexpected debate. Sarge's last light. In 9AF, Blitz Squadron foiled an anti-government group's attempt to construct their own Atlas. This incident sparked a heated debate among the members of the Academy. One faction insisted that they delete all Atlas data files to prevent future misuse, while another claimed that the construction of the giant weapon was a necessary evil. If Atlas was indeed a future weapon, they argued, someone must build it, or history would face another paradox. With no conclusion forthcoming, the data files were eventually stored within Academy headquarters to await a final judgment. Blitz Squadron Mission Report. In 10AF, Blitz Squadron, an elite Academy Security Regiment unit, returned from duty in the Vile Peaks. During their mission, their entire airship vanished, and the crew along with it. All hope for their survival was lost, until they miraculously reappeared 3 weeks later. During an awards ceremony that took place some time after, the squadron's leader was asked how the team got its name. He revealed that it was an homage to one of their former squad mates from their Guardian Corps days, who went by the code name Lightning. Fate's Recollection. Heart Prism. You're not going to believe this. More and more people in New Bottom have been learning spells after moving here from Cocoon. It makes sense that Sarah has magic powers, 'cause she spent time dreaming in Crystal, but when kids start screaming fire and conjuring flames out of thin air, you have to start wondering. We asked Sarah how she does her magic tricks, and she said something about channeling the crystal within, whatever that means. Well, maybe some mysteries are meant to be understood. Vita Lyrica. Sarah has left on a journey, too, so things are going to get busy around here. She was the only one who knew how to cook all the Nora house dishes. With her gone, it's just me holding down the fort. Sarah used to get good grades back in school. History was her favorite subject. She was teaching the kids the odd class here and there, but Snow and her were talking about building a proper school right here in New Bottom. When they get back, we're all going to pitch in and make it happen. Anima Miseria. The last time Sarah saw Lightning was right before she was turned into Crystal. She told Lightning about her plans to marry Snow, but when Lightning refused to bless their marriage, she took off running. That's no way to say goodbye. Those two still have unfinished business. Here in New Bottom, Sarah spent a lot of time looking up at the night sky, talking to Lightning. She's never been able to let go. Unio Mystica. Back in New Bottom, on Cocoon, there was this weird relic called a vestige, which had been lifted off Pulse back when Cocoon and Pulse were fighting. Turns out that it was an old Pulse temple, and there was a fal'Cie inside that turned Sarah into a l'Cie. It seems crazy to think now that no one thought to check inside before they set it up next to our hometown. When Sarah got turned into a l'Cie inside the vestige, the Cocoon fal'Cie used the incident for their own purposes. Sarah's not a l'Cie anymore, and the brand is gone from her arm, but she's still able to use magic. I wonder if the power just stayed inside her after she was cured, or is it new from somewhere else? Ars Symphonica. Everyone in Nora House came from Bottom originally, but there's not a soul living there anymore. When Cocoon fell and almost smashed into Pulse, the whole town was wiped out. Funny thing is, no one was in the town thanks to the purge that the Sanctum and Psycom carried out. Does that mean the purge was a good thing? Well, I wouldn't say that. Bottom used to be famous for its fireworks festival, and our cafe would be busy as anything the night of the show. I hope someday we can bring those good times back here in New Bottom. Pathos Jewel. This new column, penned by your favorite junk and gadgets dealer, introduces newbies to the ins and outs of machines of all kinds. The crystal used inside the ancient Oracle Drive devices is a really amazing material. It resonates with the thoughts of nearby people and reconstructs them in its atomic structure. Plus, if you inject energy into the crystal, you can freeze the structure into place. So if you think about something really hard, and then run a current of energy through the crystal lattice, you can trap the images that were inside your head. Scientists have even figured out how to date the recordings. Misery's Bead. Since I started dealing junk parts, I've been building quite a collection of broken weapon components. I've divided them into two main categories: military weapons and ancient weapons. Military weapons include things like bioweapons and mechs that were used by the old Cocoon military. A lot of the top secret stuff features streamlined designs and AMP, antimatter manipulation principle, technology. The ancient weapons are mostly military hardware that extinct Grand Pulse civilizations left behind. These relics tend to be tough and heavy, like construction machinery, but some are really weird contraptions, using far-out technologies. Amur's Sphere. We'd been having problems with our automated delivery system, and customers were complaining that they didn't get their goods. For a virtual shop like us, this is a serious problem. Then again, I only started this as a hobby, so do I really care if we go under? Well, anyway, we patched the problem by borrowing space on the MoogleWorks system, which is why some of you have been greeted by a squeaky, "Welcome, Kupo." Say, wouldn't it be wild if that shop was run by a real live Moogle? Innocence's Sacred Sphere. The upgrades we do on wristwatches make them pretty much indestructible. It all started when Snow asked us to customize a watch for him, with a guarantee that it could survive absolutely anything he might throw at it. Not sure why he'd want to try and wreck his own watch, but the customer knows best, I guess. Besides, the way Snow runs around like a behemoth with its head cut off, I figure he should worry more about himself than his watch. People complained about how the earlier models looked, So we've brought my pal Huge on board to spiff up the design. If anyone knows about matching outfits, it's Huge. Orb of Clotho. This is the prophecy as told by Clotho, messenger of the other world. Great Fenrir is the foul sea of the skies above. By the will of the mighty god Pulse, Fenrir ceaselessly wanders the heavenly vault, searching for the great door lost at the equinox of existence. This is the destiny of the foul sea Fenrir. Sword of Lachesis. This is the prophecy as told by Lachesis, messenger of the magic world. Ragnarok the beast shall bring down Cocoon. After the war of transgression, 2 girls from the far north shall come to Cocoon, the nest of Lindsay, and transform it into the beast that destroys it. Until the end of time, this day shall be known as the day of Ragnarok. Mirror of Atropos. This is the prophecy as told by Atropos, messenger of the heavens. The 13th Ark is the fortress that protects the heavenly vault. When the heroes gather unto mighty Pulse to do battle in the war that must be fought, this shall be the stronghold. Know now and remember that the Ark shall be the salvation of all Pulse's children. Giant Egg. What was the ultimate purpose of the Padra Oracle drives? The dominant theory is that they were archiving devices for preserving images of the future. These archives appear to consist of broken fragments of the seeress's prophecies. To gain a clear picture of the timeline, it will be necessary to amass a large collection of these images and then piece them together. We have noted that the ancients stopped recording visions after a certain point in history. Did the process of recording to the oracle drive become an empty ritual? Was some other means found to preserve the prophecies? Or did the visions of the future grow so terrible that the far seers thought it best they never be seen? Extraordinary Egg. I still find it difficult to believe. Today we uncovered a recording of snow in the machine. There was nothing unusual about the image itself. We expected that snow might be traveling the timeline. What shocked me was the brand. He bore the mark of a Grand Pulse lessee. Since the catastrophe, the Pulse fal'Cie have had nothing to do with human affairs. They have shown no interest in attacking Cocoon, and they have no reason to make anybody a lessee, which leaves only one possibility. Snow himself asked for the brand. What is happening to Snow in that distant future? What terrible need drove him to take the lessee brand? Woolly Stone. We're the sheep of Grand Pulse, and our wool is the best. We grow it this thick so it keeps off the pests. But the men chase us down with scissors and shears, and cut it all off, before it covers our ears. Our rough wool is strong, and makes saddles and carpets. Our thick wool makes hats and booties and blankets. But it's our fine fluffy wool that holds them in thrall. When plucked at the roots, it's the best wool of all. It's hard to be a sheep out here on the plain. Avoiding the hunters is such a terrible strain. Oh, I wish that just once I could munch on some grass, without a man coming to pull a tuft from my side. Setzer's Dice. They say the future isn't certain, but neither is the past. Until someone checks, no one knows if a tossed coin comes up heads or tails. For a brief moment, both possibilities exist. The coin is heads and tails, potential realities overlapping, a paradox. You've seen the evidence all around you. Don't tell me you haven't. Treasure boxes that appear out of nowhere, landscapes that shouldn't be there, gates that shimmer and flicker. This is what happens when worlds collide. It's like I always say, there's more to this universe than meets the eye. Cartesian board. The void beyond is a chasm between the seen and unseen worlds. It is a space made of shadows that are cast long and dark from Valhalla itself. Many form closed, incomplete worlds that are known as temporal rifts. There are other kinds of places here too, such as palaces and battle arenas molded from nothing more substantial than hopes, dreams, and passions. Laplacian board. There is no death in the void beyond. Souls who long to die instead live within dreams that are spun from the fabric of their deepest desires. Once trapped within these dreams, they have no means of escape. Next time you look into a mirror, peer closely at the edge. Do you see the ghostly shimmering? That is the world of dreams, known to some as the mirror world. It is an eternal place of wishes fulfilled and happy memories made real. Yet the ghosts who inhabit it know not they are prisoners of eternity. Categories. Quiz mastery. Quiz rank, private. Captain Raijdia is a former Cocoon soldier. Following the catastrophe, he played a central role in running the provisional government. Raijdia crushed the budding resurgence of the former administration by revealing the Sanctum's manipulation by the fal'Cie and their subsequent slaughter of innocent civilians during the Purge. He lent his support to the Academy scientists who sought to promote human independence and encouraged the shift in authority from the government to this new institute. Quiz rank, Sergeant. Elida Karmic is a singer hailing from Palampolum Cocoon, and was popular during the 10s and 20s following the catastrophe. Her most memorable appearance was during the New Nautilus Auditorium opening concert, where director of the New Cocoon Project, Hope Estheim, handed her a bouquet of flowers. Karmic and Estheim were classmates all through middle school. Quiz rank, Lieutenant. Colonel Yaag Roche was an officer in the Sanctum's elite PSICOM division. Along with PSICOM officer Colonel Nabat, he acted as one of the Primarch's staunchest supporters. During the catastrophe, however, he chose to abort the operation ordered by the fal'Cie. Roche redirected the military's efforts into evacuating civilians, and in doing so, saved countless lives. His fate following those events is unknown, but it is assumed he was killed in action. Quiz rank, Colonel. Bartholomew Estheim was originally an economist for a Sanctum-affiliated institute. Following the catastrophe, the newly formed provisional government employed him as a financial advisor, where he was instrumental in the founding of the Academy. He is the father of Hope Estheim, the director of the New Cocoon Project. Quiz rank, General. Lieutenant Amidar was a soldier in Cocoon's Guardian Corps. Although he once retired from duty in disgust at the military's handling of civilians during the catastrophe, Amidar re-enlisted to help protect people from the hostile creatures of Pulse. The lieutenant's unique appearance was used to create a duplicate, a 4D attraction code, named Captain Cryptic, that proved incredibly popular with children. The original Amidar is said to also have been fond of quizzes and trivia. Stoic virtue. The deterioration of the crystal pillar supporting Cocoon continues, and it will only be a matter of years before a complete structural collapse occurs. Academy scientists are moving forward with plans to create a meta-shield, an invisible cushion of force that will soften Cocoon's impact significantly, thereby minimizing the damage to Pulse's surface and preventing a catastrophic upheaval in the lower world's ecosystem. Epicurean Song. With our continuing progress into paradox research, we've come to learn that the future can influence the past. Once events in the future are decided, the past is altered to support that outcome. For people in the future, the past is like an unopened box. Say, for example, at a certain point in time, someone makes a discovery in a set of ruins and learns a fact about the past. In that instant of understanding, past reality is defined. But then the question must be asked, who along the entire span of history is considered to be in the future? Lyceum knowledge. The language of the human race has changed little since ancient times. Records show that the tongue spoken by the people of Padra almost 1,000 years ago is functionally identical to that used by the present citizens of academia. Although the language is much the same, it seems strange that the alphabets of Grand Pulse and Cocoon should vary so widely. Perhaps this variation stems from the fact that human language was not a naturally occurring phenomenon, but a tool given to us by the Fal'Cie. Academia Wisdom. The last Primarch in Cocoon was the ill-fated Cid Raines, who was killed in a coup d'etat shortly after his rise to office. The cavalry, the military unit leading the rebellion, once followed him without question in their bid to overthrow the Sanctum. They considered his acceptance of the government's highest position as incontrovertible proof of his betrayal. Captain Raigdia, a member of the cavalry and instigator of the coup d'etat, was the driving force behind the provisional government formed following the catastrophe. Although he spoke little of his former commander, he did have this to say of Cid Raines. He was exactly the sort of man we needed for this new age. Graviton Core Category. Graviton Core Alpha. Well, this is it. I'm off to find Lightning. Sarah says her sister is alive, and if I don't believe her, who will? And this isn't just about Lightning. Fong and Vanille are waiting for me to find a way to help them out of that pillar, too. I'm going to leave my engagement pendant with Sarah. It's not the right time to get married, not while we still don't know the truth. Besides, I still need to get Lightning's blessing. Graviton Core Beta. Whoa, that was one crazy dream. I didn't really get that talk about gates and artifacts and stuff, but you gotta do what Big Sis tells you right. Looks like this journey is going to take longer than I figured, but Sarah and Godot and the gang They'll understand, right? Graviton Core Gamma. Hey, Sarah, can you hear me? It seems like wherever I go, I leave this graviton ore stuff in my steps, which you're going to need at some point down the road. Guess that means I should keep walking even if it doesn't get me anywhere. Who knows? Maybe you'll hear this message someday through the crystal. At least then, I won't have been talking to myself the whole time. So, Sarah, if you're listening, take care and come home safe. Graviton Core Delta. So, this is Uerba, where Fong and Vanille came from. You know, I always figured they'd be the last ones to turn to crystal and sleep forever. Although I guess they'd slept for centuries before they met up with us. I only ever knew them when they were up and running around. If I'm going to free them, I need to get stronger. Much stronger. Strong like I was back then, when I was a lessee. Graviton Core Epsilon. I passed by someone when I was in the Historia Crux. He was sleeping, just bobbing along time's current. I didn't get a good look at him, but that crazy hair looked really familiar. It was Saz. I'd bet my favorite bandana on it. Thing is, last I heard he was piloting some airship. I hope he didn't get caught up in any of this trouble. He's had enough bad luck for one lifetime. Graviton Core Zeta. Hey, Sarah. It was good to see you, but hard to say goodbye again. Don't worry about me, though. I found my own gate, and now I'm following my path. Hey, and Noel, you there. You make damn sure Sarah finds her sister, you hear me. Together you can do it. I know you can. Graviton Core Eta. So here I am, in the void beyond. I hear there's some kind of Colosseum place up ahead. I've got something I need to do there. All I have to do is climb on Shiva and head straight in. Only one thing I'm worried about. What exactly is that Caius guy up to? Categories. An affectionate message. Words of light. There is no time in Valhalla. Events happen in chaotic order. Noel Kreis, I already sent you to Sarah's side, and yet here I am in a place where we have yet to meet. You get used to it, I guess. My battles with Caius rage on, our conflict eternal. But should I lose even once, and existence be destroyed, an empty void is all that would remain. I cannot lose the war for Valhalla. I'm sorry, Sarah. This nightmare realm is where I need you to be. Father's Song. Hey there, Sarah. I've got some intel for you. Well, it's something I heard from Lightning in a dream. This guy you're fighting, he got some serious backup. How'd it go? Winged and fanged, born from chaos, a cursed beast of blackest night. I'd tell you more, but her voice got cut off all of a sudden. Me, right now, I'm in some weird kind of place. I get this feeling I'm gonna run into someone I know, but I never seem to find 'em. But don't you go worrying about ol' Saz. You just watch your back. Vanille's Fruit. I've wanted to apologize to you for so long, Sarah. I'm the reason you were turned into a lessee. It's my fault you had to suffer. I couldn't say it before, so I'm saying it now. I'm sorry. I'm so very sorry. Did you know that you were the first miracle in all of this? You defied your l'Cie fate and turned to crystal of your own will. It was your miracle that showed Fang and me that we had the power to save Cocoon. So don't ever stop believing in yourself. You can make another miracle and protect Cocoon. I know you can do it. Fang's crown. I meant to apologize when we met, but I never did. So, Sarah, this is my chance. Everything was my fault. You were made into a l'Cie because I messed up. Sure, I helped you out a little, but that doesn't make things right. Vanille and I will repay our debts by keeping Cocoon in the sky. It's not so bad. I have Vanille here with me after all. Don't you worry about us. You just get yourself to Lightning. That Caius guy she's fighting, we've heard his name before. He's bad news. A real monster. So hurry along and help your sister out. You're the one she needs to see more than anyone in this world. Hope's message. Sarah, can you hear me out there in the future? I'm sending you an access code for a supply sphere. I trust this may help you in the fateful battle to come. Noel's message. Hey, Noel. You're not going to believe this, but this is a message from you. I'm just a little further ahead in the timeline than where you are now. I've got a warning for you, my past self. Things are going to get a lot harder from here on out. But just remember to hang in there no matter what. You just might surprise yourself. You're a lot tougher than you think. Sarah's message. I don't know where I am. I can't hear anything. I can't see anything. It's cold and dark, and I'm all alone. This place is dead. But I don't have any regrets. I fought to the end. I never ran away. I just hope someone will remember me, now that I'm gone. Choco Chick down. Daddy went away for a while. He said he was going to help Sarah and her friends. Let's do it, Daddy. I want to help, too. Hey, remember my daddy's chocobo chick? Well, it's a girl, so I've decided to call her Chocolina. Cool, huh? Lucky coin. You want to know what I think? This palace I've ended up at, it's like a paradise for dead folk. See, some people die before they have a proper chance to live, but here they can enjoy themselves and forget about their regrets. Maybe in the beginning it was just a fairy tale, but some kind of cosmic switcheroo made it as real as day. Thing is, I'm not supposed to be here. I guess when Dodge and me got caught up in that mess a few years back, the powers that be thought I got killed or something. But I didn't. I'm as alive as can be. So I'm leaving and heading back home to Dodge, just as soon as I hit one more jackpot. Priceless gift. The casino owner told me something interesting the other day. He said there's a coliseum in the void beyond, supposedly dead heroes from all over, or at least copies of them, gather there to duke it out for honor and glory. Of course, I'm no hero, so it's got nothing to do with me. Makes me wonder, though, this place is for dead people, and that coliseum, too. Do you have to be dead to get into the void beyond? I sure hope not, 'cause I'm not done living. Lapis Lazuli. In the future, Fang and I are called the Daughters of the Goddess, right? It's kind of embarrassing, to be honest. When they say goddess, I guess they mean Atro. I remember her. When Fong and I first tried to hold up Cocoon, we felt this kindly strength surrounding us. It was the same feeling as back when I first turned to Crystal. I bet Fong doesn't remember it as well as me, but I think maybe it was the goddess we felt, although the priests back home always made her out to be much scarier than that. So maybe I'm wrong. Heliodor Ore. While we're here, sleeping inside the pillar that holds up Cocoon, Lightning is fighting to protect Atro. I wonder why. Atro is a cruel goddess. She sends eidolons to persecute dying l'Cie and slaughters her children as carelessly as we swat flies. I don't really know what Lightning's game is, but I can tell you this. She's in a really bad place. Once she set foot in there, she had no way to get out. It's hard for her to be heard while she's in there, too. So, Sarah, you've got to help. Listen to your heart. You might hear lightning if you do. Carnelian. Hope visited again. We always know when he does. He comes to check on the pillar. Fong and I are lost in our dreams, but even so, we know when our friends are close. We can feel them in our hearts. We are fine here, inside the crystal, but I worry about the future. I caused so much trouble for the people of Cocoon, and for Sarah and her sister, and their friends and family. Hope, we're counting on you to save the future and stop the tragedy from happening all over again. Celestine. That idiot Snow is hell-bent on going to the Colosseum. There's nothing there except dead fools fighting for a glory that no one will ever know. Is he really that obsessed with becoming strong? The worst part is, he's doing it for our sake. I really wish we could tell him to forget about us and help Sarah and Lightning. It was our fault they got caught up in this mess in the first place. If things keep going the way they are, maybe our nightmares will come true, and those two girls won't ever see each other again. Cosmo Aura. Sarah, can you hear me? Fong and I just had the most wonderful dream. We were in a place I didn't know with a young man and woman who I've never met. They were laughing together, enjoying the moment. They were so happy. When I think that we're helping to build a future for people like that, the weight of Cocoon doesn't seem that heavy at all. Fong and I are here inside the crystal, but even so, we can feel you in our hearts. So, Sarah, don't give up, okay? You can make a future where everyone is happy again. I know you can. Categories: Oracle of Atro, Ultima Brand. The Heart of Chaos does not grant the Guardian power. It eats away at their physical self. Caius did not gain an immortal body, but was cursed with eternal life. Heed my words, Noel. You are the last protector and the only one who can wrest the heart's strength from Caius. In the instant you strike the life from his body, you shall either inherit the curse or break its eternal grip. Only your will can sway the fate one way or the other. Omega Brand. The idolith that summons Bahamut is set into the hilt of Caius's greatsword. Bahamut is an eidolon of Valhalla, a gift from the goddess of chaos to her l'Cie. No one now living knows why Caius possesses the crystal idolith of a l'Cie. It was centuries, nay, more than 1,000 years past that he became the guardian, and his companions of that age have long since departed this mortal realm. Chaos Brand. A massive battle once raged on Grand Pulse. Padra was besieged by a great army that sought the life of the CRS. In the face of this assault, Caius chose to perform an incarnate summoning. This ritual merged his essence with that of the Eidolon Bahamut, and drew forth all their latent power. An incarnate summoning expends the life force of the summoner, and thus did Caius perish. But he returned from death's domain, an immortal heart beating within his breast. That dark summons is now his to wield at will, as long as the heart of chaos pumps eternity through his veins. Crimson Crystal. Valhalla is a world that is connected to every age, every timeline. When the seeress of the far seers gazes into the future, Valhalla is at the heart of the vision. The seeress also has the power to send her inner voice through Valhalla and then to the time and place of her choosing. However, only those with great chaos in their hearts are able to hear the words of the seeress. Azure Crystal. In the heart of Valhalla stands Atro's temple, the throne that sits within, the throne of the goddess, is always empty. No one can say how long the goddess's temple has stood in this place. In a world where time does not exist, such a question has little meaning. Some speculate, however, that the goddess built the temple with her own hands, as a prison for some long-forgotten enemy. Forest Crystal. The seeress of the far seers knows the exact moment she will die. However, she is forbidden to change the timeline in order to save herself. The seeress has no choice but to accept her preordained end. This is the law of the far seers. Each change of the timeline creates new victims, spawns new tragedies, and not even the seeress can tell how great those losses shall be. Amber Crystal. Valhalla, where the temple of the goddess stands, floats on the vast ocean of chaos into which all things must flow. There is no beginning or end to chaos. Those that fall into its waters are condemned to float for all eternity in the rift between life and death. The ocean of chaos has drowned the pedestal of time. There, on that holy of holies, did the goddess Atro first step into the unseen realm. But as her power waned, the sacred spot where her foot touched soil sank beneath the sullen waves. Violet Crystal. The seeress of the far seers has left us many prophecies, but amongst them the most enigmatic must surely be this. When Valhalla consumes the sky, a new star flashes like lightning, and in the heavens twinkles distant hope. What does it mean when Valhalla consumes the sky? What is the new star that flashes in the sky? Does this prophecy foretell a future of salvation or destruction? No one can say. Atro's sorrow. Atro granted the most selfless of gifts. Her power and strength flowed through the gate to the unseen world, and with each passing second she grew weaker and weaker. Now the goddess sleeps within the heart of chaos. Should she cease to exist, then the power that she granted to humanity, the power that makes their universe whole, will disappear. When the sands of time run out on the goddess, so too do they on the world of man. Pulse's resolution. When the people of Cocoon first came down to the surface of Grand Pulse, magic filled the earth. Among the people there were those who awakened to this power. I saw it happen. I saw time distorted and twisted. When the timeline was changed and history broken, fissures appeared in the wall that separates the spirit and the material. The crystal power that was once bestowed only upon the Lassie was released, and it permeated deep into the soil. Now normal humans can spin enchantments as spells, if they know how. Lindsay's desire. The part of humans we call soul is a gift of the goddess. In all our hearts flickers a small piece of the chaos of Valhalla. From Valhalla, you can see every age, every timeline. I see the future because Valhalla lives in my heart. The eyes of Atro is not a unique gift reserved for the special. Every human who claims a soul can gaze into the future. Muin's tenderness. Our bodies are made of the blood of the goddess. Our souls are formed of the chaos which she bestowed upon us. The Farseers were an ancient people who embraced the chaos more than any other. They were Pulse's oldest tribe, and I was their seeress. The power to see the future, the power to travel the timeline, the power to bend monsters to your will, the power to remember in your dreams even when the timeline has changed. They are manifestations of hidden chaos, and in a chosen few, these powers are great indeed. Such are the blessings of the goddess. Bunivels's sleep. In the physical world, it contains within its form endless chaos. By the will of the deities, it gives birth to all living things. I speak of crystal. The eternal dream world of the crystal lies within the unseen world. Even the gods long to find their way into that place. In all crystal, the heart that shines most brightly is called Bunivelse. Categories: Paradox ending. Transcript: A giant mistake. Okay, so ultimately it was the Academy themselves who built Atlas. Looks like it, replied Sarah, scanning the data they had just recovered. It started when the forces who were trying to restore the old cocoon reactivated the dormant Fal'Cie. Atlas was a weapon built to protect humans from the Fal'Cie. Yeah, said Sarah, before lapsing into silence. Noel followed her gaze skyward. If the Academy had not built Atlas, more and more of the Fal'Cie would have been awakened by the other side. Even so, was there no other way to counter the threat? Transcript: Vanille's Truth. Long ago, in ancient times, Cocoon and Pulse fought a terrible war. Two women called Fang and Vanille released a monster and began to march on Cocoon. At that moment, the goddess unleashed a powerful spell and turned them both into crystal statues. Their slumbering forms were placed in a temple in Uerba, which, in time, was lifted up into Cocoon itself. There they slept until, hundreds of years later, a young girl wandered into the temple and was made a Lassie. The girl's name was Sarah. This was the moment that marked the beginning of the 13 days of the Purge. Transcript: Mog's marvelous flan plan. It all began with a chance meeting with a single flan. Mog translated from the flan tongue to human speak and back again. The flan had some incredible news. The royal ripeness has been born Kupo, although the flan didn't really say Kupo. Does that mean we failed? We didn't change history after all? Asked Noel. Mog nodded in response. Noel and Sarah looked grave. How could they hope to defeat the greatest flan that ever lived? It was even more powerful than the original royal ripeness. The situation was bleak indeed. Unless I have an idea, Kupo. Mog can save the day, Kupo. Noel and Sarah had never seen Mog so confident. They looked at each other gloomily. They weren't looking forward to hearing Mog's idea. Transcript: Test subjects. Let's go, barks the officer. At his command, several soldiers pound into the elevator. This is Augusta Tower, Central Information Processing Facility. The men are members of the Resistance. It is 400 AF. After the Seath incident, the Proto-Fal-C Adam now rules academia. Adam is manufacturing an army of military Fal-C, which it will use to control the human population. But humanity is fighting back. The soldiers have infiltrated the tower in an attempt to steal the machine's crystal supply and put a halt to the Fal-C production. At the same time, something is changing inside the captive Noel and Sarah. Transcript: The future is hope. Snow was riding the highways of time when he came across a gate projecting strange, flickering images which showed Sarah. Snow saw her receiving an artifact from an unknown young woman, hesitant, unsure of the gift. Then, as he watched, the scene changed, and changed again, and again. A tumbling kaleidoscope of visions, countless fragments of histories Snow had never known. Damn, someone is trying to rewrite history. Snow realized he had to act fast. He leapt onto trusty Shiva and headed for the gate. A new adventure was just beginning. The hunt for the 13 crystals. Transcript: Beneath a timeless sky. Yule knows that this was the world she wanted. Noel is here. I am here. That's all I need. No Caius. Just us. We can start over again, and this time make it better. But Noel wants more. He wants a future. He wants everything. People, life, all of it. The bad as well as the good. Yule lifts her head. If that's what Noel wants, then I want it too. Look, Noel. A star is falling. A new door is open. Perhaps beyond it, the real future is waiting. Transcript: Heir to Chaos. Across Noel's mind flitted one of Caius's memories, a memory from 1,000 years ago. Caius fighting a warrior and losing, pushed to the brink of defeat. But the gods refused to bless either of them, and the warrior was called to Valhalla before the duel reached its climax. Caius might have been saved from his curse of eternity. Instead, he had to wait for the birth of Noel. Noel's eyes snapped open. You make your own myths, Caius, but I'm going to save everyone my way. Yule and Sarah, and yes, you too. So saying, Noel's mouth curled into the old, familiar smile. Transcript. Fate and Freedom. Hey, can Moogles talk? Dodge has dropped by Nora House to play, and as usual, he's peppering me with questions. Of course they can. They know lots of things and love answering just about any question you might have. Ho ho ho. Since when did you become a Moogle expert? Laughs Saz as he strides into the house. He has a point. Why do I think I know about Moogles? I mean, they're just make-believe creatures from children's books. Yet, somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm sure I've met one. What's wrong? Dodge is looking up at me, wondering why I've suddenly become so quiet. I tell him it's nothing. But it isn't nothing, and for the rest of the day, my head is full of thoughts of Moogles. This concludes the Fragments